Hi guys, welcome back to Gearjunkies TV and a new video. Today we're gonna take a look and listen to the Studio Electronics SE-3X. The Studio Electronics SE-3X is an analog 3-oscillator monophonic synthesizer. It is a further development on the SE-1X, which in itself is the second version of the original SE-1, which came out at the end of the 90s. Many of the features are similar, but according to the makers, the SE-3X was originally made by a request from a customer to modify an existing SE-1X with extra filters and other hardware changes. Studio Electronics decided to make it official and created a new software version in addition to the hardware changes, and made this into a synth that you can buy now. So we'll take a look and listen to the hardware and software of the SE-3X. But first, you can stay informed about all our videos by subscribing to our channel. Just click the subscribe button below the video and you can hit the bell button to get notifications when there is something new on our channel. The SE-3X comes in a 3-unit high rack mount format, and on the front it has a 4-line blue lit LCD display with selector knobs and an encoder for adjusting parameters. Then there's a section for modulation, oscillators, filters, envelope generators, and the envelope amounts have a separate section there. On the back are connections for audio out, audio in, and MIDI in, out and through. So, what is new in the SE-3X? First, the software. There's now a paraphonic mode, so you can make chords and color the sound a little bit by addressing the oscillator separately. Then there's a front panel control for oscillator 2 and 3 fine-tune. There's front panel control for the oscillator levels. There's a newly implemented LFO gate, which triggers the envelopes, and it can also be synchronized. And there's a new envelope type. It's called exponential, and it is derived from the Omega and SeO2, which gives a different envelope characteristic as opposed to the original. Then there's an exponential glide routine, also coming from the Omega, and there are new front panel screen jumps and shortcuts. And finally, the last patch you selected will be recalled when you power the unit off and on again. Then there are two fuzz modes, 70s and 90s. We will listen to them shortly. And the most significant hardware change are additional filters. Originally, the SE-1X had a 12 dB SEM filter, which you can set to band pass, high pass or low pass. And now it also has a mini filter, which means a low pass ladder filter, and also a low pass ARP 2600 filter. Then there's a Roland type filter, which comes in two variants. It's called Juno Jupiter, and it comes in 24 dB, 6 dB, and a mix mode. You can all switch the filters on the front panel. Let's take a look at the VCOs. These are very similar to the Minimoog VCOs, which was originally the idea behind the SE-1, to make a sort of rack mount Minimoog with slightly different characteristics, of course, due to the different filter. Back to the oscillators, they all have triangle, sawtooth and pulse waveforms, and they can be synced together, and they all have separate frequency selection. Also, all the three oscillators have a pulse width. Then in addition, there's also a noise generator which you can mix in, and there's a built-in ring modulator. Let's listen to the oscillators. can now mix the oscillators on the front panel by applying the shift function and then just turn one of the knobs. You can see in the display it changes, and you can see the amount that the different oscillators are having. So I'll just set this to listening to a single oscillator, and let's put it at 80%, like this. And in addition, you can mix the ring modulator and noise here as well. So I'll just have an arpeggiator running and listen to how that sounds. Let's check out the filters. As said, the SE-3X has extra filters, and we'll listen to all of them in a minute. Let me just say that if this button is not lit, then the sound will just have the built-in filter, which is the SAM filter. And when you press this button, it will show you in the screen what the original 12 dB filter does, set to low pass mode. And with this little switch here, you determine which of the extra filters you are using. So the M stands for the Moog filter, the A for the ARP filter, and then are the three Roland filters, the Juno 24 dB, Juno 6 dB, and the mixed filter. Let's go through all of them and see how it sounds. Let's take a look at the envelopes. All of the envelopes are of the ADSR type, and there are 4 of them on board of the SE-3X. And the first 2 you can address on the front panel like this, and if you lit this button, you are actually switching to envelope 3 and 4 to adjust those. And then there are here the envelope amounts as well. So if you take a look at the envelopes and listen to them, we will switch between the new exponential and exponential 2 types and the linear type. Let's listen. Additional new features are the linear or exponential glide and an auto glide function, and also there's a newly built-in fuzz, and there are 2 types of them, the 70s and the 90s fuzz. Let's listen to both of them. Let's take a look at the modulation section. There are 3 LFOs on board. And of course the new function is also that that you can gauge the LFO, so it will re-trigger the envelopes. All the modulation oscillators have triangle, sawtooth, reverse sawtooth, square, noise and random waveforms, and you can add 1 destination for each LFO with key trigger, phase, clock visible MIDI sync and auto gate. There are lots of destinations that you can address here in the menu, and here you can see the waveform. So the modulation destinations are VCO 1, 2 and 3 frequency, mix level, pulse width, ring modulation mix level, noise mix level, VCF resonance, VCF frequency. Envelopes 3 and 4 address VCOs 1, 2 and 3 frequency, and VCOs 1, 2 and 3 mix level, and VCOs 1, 2 and 3 pulse width, ring modulation mix level and noise mix level, and LFO 1, 2 and 3 rate, depth and VCF resonance. Let's listen to some of the presets of the SE-3X. So, what do we think of the SE-3X? For me, it was a combination of nostalgia and some new pleasant surprises. The overall look and feel of the SE-3X seems quite vintage. The controls, display and menus have not really changed from the original SE1 series, with some pleasant exceptions like the mixer control from the front page and other controls that were added. I never really liked the menu structure and operation of the SE1, and this has not really changed. But it still sounds very good, or even better due to the additional filters and new envelopes, and of course the option to operate it in paraphonic mode. Although it makes sense, since the new filters are pure hardware edition, it is too bad you cannot save the setting in a preset. This means you will always have to remember which filter was used if it's not set to the standard one. The SE-3X certainly has its own character and sound, and for that it has to be commended. It sounds both modern and vintage, and overall it has a punchy, snappy sound with very good bass response and also very smooth sounding oscillators over the whole frequency range. If you are looking for a decent mono synth with a good history and lots of extra features, check out the SE-3X. And if you have an SE-1X, there's a software update available as an EEPROM replacement, which will give you the new envelopes, periphery and other software features, which is certainly worth the money. Well, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.